Thank you all guys so much for coming. Really nice to be here. That's my first time in Montreux, this great festival. Such an honor to share this stage with so many great guitarists. Also, I really like Switzerland trains. It was easy yesterday to get from Germany to here. Thanks God. So yeah, it's just a workshop. I'm gonna be playing a couple of tunes and then probably gonna be telling you a little bit about this guitar that I play, which is very special. Probably you haven't seen the guitar like this before. Me neither, for sure. And yeah, but at first I'm gonna just maybe play something very small for you just to show you how it works. And yeah, then we're gonna talk about kind of anything really. Let's just figure it out on the fly. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, that was fun. Anyways, so if you have any questions, just straight from the top of your dome, then yeah, please feel free to raise your hand, and I will be happy to help. Or if not, we can just start with a little bit of this guitar explanation. Yeah, oh, sorry, didn't see you. What is this guitar? That's a good question. Okay, so I've been playing acoustic fingerstyle for many years, and at some point we had this idea with a German brand that's called Baton Rouge to build a dream guitar for me, and afterwards to maybe make it more simple so we could bring it to the market, so to make a signature guitar out of it. But the idea was to build something that only I need, only I have, well, in my mind of how the perfect guitar should be. And we built this guitar. At first it didn't look exactly like that. Now it's just all glued up with weird things on it. It's called Frankenstein guitar. And this one is really special because there were like 2 or 3 main ideas behind this guitar. And the first and the foremost idea is that this guitar is made for fast tuning changes on the fly. Kind of like John Gom style or Michael Mannering, if you know the guy, the bass player, but on an acoustic guitar and pushed even further in a way. So the idea is that I'm not sure how many of you guys have been here yesterday at John Gom's Masterclass. Just raise your hands. Oh, well, that's not bad. Okay, so John is one of my biggest inspirations. It's really amazing to share the stage with him tonight. And he uses these fancy tuners here, which are called banjo tuners. And basically, what these tuners allow me to do is to do the quick tuning changes like this. And that's something that John also does a lot. And but I've been using these techniques also for many years, and at some point I got bored, and I was thinking, okay, if we can change the tuning on this side, why we cannot do it here on the bridge side? And that's why I can change the tuning on my bridge as well. And then on top of that, it was kind of not enough as well. So we built this system here in the headstock where I can also change my tuning. So basically I have 3 systems now where I can change the tuning here and on the bridge as well. So well, I gotta compose something still with it, just one note that I just bend back and forth. But it's pretty cool because it kind of sounds like synth or like singing or something fretless. And I just like the sound of it. I just like the way how one note goes into another without actually needing to fret it. That's too much reverb. Okay, and that was the first idea. And for that, it took quite some effort to build a guitar that would be handling these tunings, because it's not just altered tunings that we play in fingerstyle, right? It's like a changing of the tuning on the fly. So the guitar should be very stable. This guitar is also very heavy. It's like 4.5 kilos. There's so much stuff inside of it, and you have to be really strong to play this guitar. And the neck is extra heavy, and there are 2 big carbon tubes inside. That go throughout the neck and then through the body like that. You cannot see it from here, but there are just 2 big tubes like this thick, just to stabilize everything. And it's never perfect anyways. The guitars were not made for playing like this. So unfortunately, well, most of the time I struggle with fine-tuning everything, but when it's in tune, it sounds great. So that's the whole idea. That was the first thing. The second thing was because in fingerstyle we use a lot of drumming, and this is something I can also talk a little bit more about. So basically the whole body of the guitar is a great drum kit. And throughout the years I also figured out that if you put separate piezo pickups everywhere inside of the guitar, you can do isolation of each drumming sound. So for example, my kick drum, it sounds so good, not because of the microphones inside. Well, there are quite plenty of microphones inside, but the idea is that it's a separate signal. So I can control it separately on my mixer here, like almost like I'm sound checking the band, almost like I'm sitting in a bar, and I'm like, okay, this is my drum kit. I can make my kick drum louder or lower, doesn't matter. The same goes for my snare, and it's also isolated. And there's also something really fun that I like, is because I also like to do scratching on a guitar. That's why it kind of looks pretty messed up already, but it doesn't matter. I mean, guitars are made for playing, right? So I have my scratches, and you can see these scratches are on the right side and these scratches are on the left side, which is also, I think, super cool, right? It feels like you're sitting in a cinema, and the sound is just moving around. And especially if you use some fancy effects like this, and then you add something else like all this stereo scratching on top. Well, everything is moving, which is cool, right? Especially for you guys in the middle. Probably here on the side it's not that audible. So yeah, that's a good tip. If you want to enjoy the concert to the fullest, any concert, please sit always in the middle. That's the rule of thumb, if you want to hear the stereo things flying around. Okay, and I've been using all these wooden drums for so long, like, and but it never really sounded like a real drum. It sounds like, well, like a guitar, right? It still sounds like somebody's hitting the guitar, and I was trying to find the solution for that problem. And I think last year I came up with these systems here, and all of that is analog, so there are no MIDI triggers. Everything is acoustic. Like, if I unplug everything, everything is real here. So what's happening is that I have my hi-hat here, which is called Schlagwerk Samjam. It's from German company Schlagwerk, and originally this thing meant to be a snare for a guitar. So when you put it somewhere here, you hit it, and you get a snare. But I found it sounds better as a hi-hat, because it has metal strings inside. And this is my snare, also with metal strings inside. Which is pretty cool. So now and there's this little thing here, but I don't know how to use it yet. It's just some kind of a funny symbols. It's kind of fun. I don't know what to use them for yet. It's kind of fun though. And when I combine all these things, I have my wooden drumming, but also I have my kind of real drumming here. So yeah, that was the second idea, to have this side of the guitar for drumming on Frankenstein guitar. This side is for tuning, this side is for drumming, and all of that requires 7 signals coming out of this side. And this is also something funny, because this is not a guitar cable, right? It's a VLAN cable. So I can potentially stream some Netflix while I'm playing. But actually, it was a great solution, because using this internet cable for guitar means that I don't have to have 6 separate cables every time to plug in my guitar. But on top of that, if something breaks, I can just go to internet store. I can probably go to Müller and buy something similar, and I'm gonna save the concert if something breaks. So this was also made by Klotz Cables. It's a great German company that produces cables. And everything else, all these other outputs, there are backups. I don't actually use them. There are also tiny dinosaur stickers all around. They're good for my tone. But the most important thing is that these outputs, they are just backups. So if everything breaks, if this cable breaks, and there's no separate cable like that in Müller, or it's Sunday like now and everything's closed, then I can still use normal jacks. Like there's 5 outputs, but actually there's 6, one of them in stereo. So I can just plug in normal cables, and I still would be able to play the concert. There would be a lot of cables around me though, like tons of cables, but well, it's gonna work out. So yeah, that's kind of the basic idea behind this guitar. Really obvious to me. Really hard to play though. It just really takes so much time to get used to it. And but again, it's like if you do it for most of your life, then it's kind of natural, because I'm just looking for the sounds that I have in my head. And I don't think it's a guitar anymore at this point, but it's just fun to take the instrument that people expect you to play in some way, and you play it completely differently. And it just excites my fantasy so much. Okay, guys, any other questions? Or I can just, oh yeah? Ah, frets, yeah, great idea, great question. So frets, that's something also really interesting. You can see the frets here on this guitar, they are not vertical, right? They are, well, crooked. This geometry is called fan frets, like fan, you know, because it has the similar shape. And the idea behind it is pretty simple. It's like, at first it looks cool. That's the most important thing, I think. This is like eye catcher, right? I mean, you notice it. And the second idea is that actually the bass side, because of these frets, it gets longer than on a normal guitar. Top side gets a bit shorter. I don't notice much of a difference. But the bass side gets longer. It means that you can tune your guitar lower than a normal guitar, and you wouldn't have this nasty buzz. Well, it still would be buzzing, of course, if I would be attacking it that hard, but not as much as on a regular guitar. So it means that it's kind of a good benefit of playing in low tunings. And the third thing, which is also pretty cool, is that it's kind of comfortable to play. It's more comfortable to play the normal frets, because if you go up the neck, your wrist is following the natural position of the frets, right? Because we don't play vertically here. We still bend our wrist a little bit. So it means that, well, the frets kind of accommodate that. The only problem you might potentially have is F major chord. Whenever you play it, I don't know how often you play F major bar chord. Especially if you play guitar like this, you know? That might be a problem. But just don't play the guitar like that. So yeah, that might be the only issue. but I don't use this chord anyways. I don't like this chord. And yeah, so that's the whole idea. So 3 things: looks, comfort, and low tunings. So if you don't use low tunings, if you play in standard tuning, you're probably not going to notice it. But if you tune it lower, that's why all these gent guys, all the metal guys, they have this 8-string guitars, and they all, most of the time, fan-fretted, exactly because of the super low tunings. You want the guitar to be more stable. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Yep. Oh, no. No, it was a different guitar. I hate that song. Let's not talk about it. Okay. Anything else? Yep. Yeah, that's a good question. So this fine gentleman is asking about the strings, if I use some special strings or not. Surprisingly not. It's like, it's the diary of nickel bronze. It's like kind of normal strings, really. And the only thing is why they don't break right now is just because I change them quite often. Well, not every day, of course, not for every concert. Surprisingly, they can handle 3 or 4 concerts in a row. But normally, once in 2 weeks, it's not bad to change them. And also super low tunings. That's really just great idea in general to play in low tunings. Even if you don't do all these fancy tunings on the fly, the whole thing is that if you just in general sometimes touch the tuning pegs, it's better to tune them lower, because it means that there's not that much stress on the strings, especially on the 3rd string. You know, like the 3rd string is always the pain in the ass, the G string, because it just always breaks. Even if you don't do all these things, you just go from G to F, G to F, G to F, and in a couple of days it's gonna snap, like always like that. So what you want to do is that you're gonna tune all your strings at least 1 step lower. So now you don't go between G and F, G and F, but you go between F and D sharp, F and D sharp, F and D sharp. The same idea, but the tension is not that strong, and it means that the string is gonna last longer. Like that's that's something I figured out quite a long time ago. And then to be extra safe, you can go 2 steps lower. But so going from D sharp to whatever that note would be, C sharp. So yeah, but might be a bit too low. So that's why the fan frets would help. Yeah.
Something else about. Thanks.
Thank you.
So about the, what did you do to minimize the friction on the nut and the saddle? So is there some rolling?
That's exactly that's something also. It's getting pretty nerdy now, because the strings are moving all the time, right? And you want to make sure that the strings are, well, don't get stuck anywhere. So that's why here, I'm not sure it's visible, but we have this Fender roller nut. But it's cut in pieces by hand, because Fenders don't do the fan-fretted nuts. And this one is basically, this nut is just basically 2 balls, like that, and the string goes right in between them, and these balls are rolling. And the same goes kind of here at the bridge. It's kind of roller bridge as well. It doesn't look clean yet, because we need to build like a custom one. It's just temporary solution. And also there's some rollers here. You can take a look afterwards after the workshop, because I tried to put all the roller things in the world on it to like help myself a little bit, because again, nobody else done it before, and nobody else ever told me how to do it. So I'm just like, well, trying to figure it out. So if you have, well, ideas, I also would be, well, happy to listen and maybe to improve something, because as I said, it's just one-of-a-kind thing, and it's really hard to make the guitar do things that the guitar were never made for.
Thank you. Sorry, folks, about the nerdism, but this is what we're here for as well, too, no? Somehow.
Right. yeah, right, absolutely. Okay, guys, let me just maybe quickly play one song for you, just to spice things up a little bit. So I'm actually kind of practicing my set list now, because bit nervous. Everything's going to be recorded, so I really have to play everything well. And this is something pretty much new that I composed. And I really like, on top of all these crazy things, this one is not going to be really crazy technically, but I really like the concept of prepared guitar. So it means that you take some weird things in your house, like, I don't know, pieces of strings, forks, knives, whatever, and you put them somewhere in your guitar, trying to find some weird sounds. It's like, well, I don't know. You can take a capo, right, and you just put them somehow like this, I don't know. And you just look for something, right? It might not be working out, it might sound like crap, but it's just so fun to, you know, something weird with it. It just, I don't know. I don't know what I'm playing, right? It's already kind of cool. But anyways, so sometimes I spend too much time doing this, and surprisingly I find something cool once in a while. So lately I composed a new song that people really seem to enjoy in my concerts. Just gonna bring the thing that I found. So it's this one. It's a Star Wars DVD. It's Die Dunkle Bedrohung. It's the second part of that, whatever, second trilogy, I think. Anyways, doesn't matter. And surprisingly, this DVD, I was just thinking, okay, well, you can just put the DVD inside of the strings, right? And what I found is that if you put the DVD like this, and it's got to be DVD, it's very important. Blu-ray wouldn't work, I tried. Is it correct? No, it's not correct, sorry. It goes like this. Come on. Like this. No, wrong. Keep forgetting, okay. That's much more important than you think. Okay, yeah, like this. And so when this DVD is here, what it means is that I don't have any open strings anymore. No open strings, right? It just rattle. I can still fret the strings though. The action is a bit weird now. Some strings are higher, some strings are lower. But the coolest thing is that now when I hit this DVD here, I have this really cool snare drum happening. Kind of like marching snare drum, right? And then on top, you have this, you can expand it even more. And that's when the effects come into play, right? Effects are super important for acoustic guitar, because it's not just dry sound like we're sitting in a small kitchen, right? It should sound big, it should sound like we're in a cathedral. And it really happens with all these drum effects. So we have this. And on top of that, use more fancy effects, right? Because we're not really talking much about the effects, but the most important thing is reverb, right? So we have this space. And the second one is delay. This repetition of everything what I do. Well, it doesn't have to be that strong, but when you have a little bit of delay, it also makes the guitar sound bigger, because something is moving and it's hard to say what it is. Maybe I don't play these notes because I don't play them, right? Sorry, getting a bit naked. And yeah, and but there's also a couple. Where's the? I feel uncomfortable. This one. Ah, okay. And there's also. I think it's the wrong one. Sorry. Not cool to be on stage like that. Professional. Okay, but there are also some other effects that make the guitar sound even more interesting. This is something I was using in the first song, right? When you go. This one is called the Whammy. It just pushes the whole signal one octave higher. Which is pretty cool. But there's another one that I found lately, well, not lately, for a couple of years already, which is called Mel 9. It's a mellotron imitation. Mellotron is the old synth that Pink Floyd and Beatles used to use. It's a long, boring story, but it sounds like this. Cool, huh? So it's kind of a choir, like somebody's singing there in the background. There's also some orchestra things, and there are different sounds, but I like to use choir and the orchestra the most. And it really helps the song to really get even bigger. And we have a little bit of choir in the background. But anyway, so this is just the technical aspects, so you would understand what's happening. And So, and instantly when I started doing this, I thought of some space battles, some spaceships and this intergalactic battalias. And I was thinking, okay, it would be cool to compose a song about this. Nothing serious, you know, just some kind of a fantasy thing. That's why I have the Star Wars DVD here for better delivery. So this one is called Intergalactic March. Okay, almost in tune. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yep, super fun. I think that's all what matters, right? Just go on stage and you have some fun. Anyways, do you have any questions at this point, guys? Anything? Yep. Sorry, just a second.
So it's another question about your guitar.
Yeah, sure.
You talked about the signature model, and I was wondering. So I guess that there is not so much stuffs and things on your signature model. What is different, or is it exactly the same?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, actually, I noticed I mentioned the signature guitar earlier when I was talking about this guitar. That the idea was to build the Frankenstein first, and then see with this German company with Baton Rouge how we can simplify it so it's not going to be costing like a spaceship, but at the same it would be playable for other people who maybe don't need all these fancy things. And what eventually we did is that, of course, we had to, get rid of a lot of things that are kind of cool, like this bridge and everything, but it's crazy expensive and it's like really hard to use. So that's why I wanted to make it also easy to use, and also, this guitar should still be a guitar, so it still should be something that you don't want to play only on these things that I do. You maybe want to play something different, right? Something that you like. And for that, the guitar should be more universal, and that's what we did. So basically, we have the same looks, more or less. Also, pinless bridge, so kind of a similar bridge. The same fan frets design, and it's the only fan fretted guitar in the market within this price, which was also one of our goals. So if you ever wanted to try an acoustic guitar, like let's say for 1,300 euros, something like that, with this fan fret geometry, that's kind of the only one you can get for this money, unless if you go to Luthier and he builds your guitar for 3,000 or 4,000 with this geometry. So within this price range, I think it's the only one. And the same wood combination, and these things that I use, they go as an additional options. So it means that if you don't want all this, you can still just get a guitar with fan frets, the guitar that's made for modern fingerstyle playing, including all this drumming. So the top is reinforced a little bit, so you wouldn't make a hole in it too quick. And on top of that, if you want to use all these fancy techniques for tuners, you can get them separately. So you can get either banjo tuners here that I use, so these guys, or you can get the string drops, these guys, or you can get any of them in any combination basically, but only for 2 strings. So just only for top strings for melodies, kind of, because if you want all the 6, it's going to be, cost almost the same as the guitar. So probably if you want that, it's better to buy it by yourself. So we offer only 2 of this, 2 of those, and 1 pickup that I believe is the best for fingerstyle beginners. Not beginners, but those who already want to go on stage, but not ready to go into all this multi-chord 6-7 signal thing, because it's just not everybody needs that as well. So the whole idea for that signature guitar is, again, it's around 1,200, 300, and the idea is that if a person buys it, then if he wants or she wants, they can customize it any way they want. Basically putting the same systems and everything, all of that is available in the market. The only problem is that many people need it, so there was no need to actually promote it, like, yeah, you have the systems that nobody knows how to use. You pay 5,000 euro for that, and then you don't know how to use them. So just that would be kind of bad. So so the whole idea is that the guitar still should be accessible, and not only for these weird things. So we're proud of it still. It works perfectly as an acoustic guitar, and it sounds much better acoustically than this guitar, because this guitar is obviously, there's so much stuff inside of it, so it's an electric guitar at this point. It's made for playing on stage. But for the signature guitar that we did, it was also the idea to keep the sound as good as possible, despite all these modern things on it, because, acoustic guitar for most of the people, it's not an electric guitar for stage. It's something that you can enjoy just playing in your room. And for this guitar, when I play in my room, I don't hear all these effects. Obviously, they're in my head. So I know that when I plug it in, when I compose the song, I know it's all in my head. But when I play acoustically, it sounds like, maybe not as good. It's kind of okay, but of course not as big as I wanted.
Thank you.
Sure.
Can I ask?
Sure.
So the pickups. What do you have a reference for the?
For the signature guitar, it's Fishman Rare Earth Blend. It's the classic solution. It's the microphone and the magnetic pickup combination. So the microphone is for picking up all the drums, and magnetic, kind of like this, is for picking up just just the notes, just the fretboard, kind of like an electric guitar. So it means that you can split them separately, and you can control your drums on the microphone, and you can control your guitar, and it's 2 signals. But if you don't want to do that, you can just use 1 cable and control the balance here with a little wheel here. But if you want to, and then afterwards you can go crazy. You can install more, like kick drums, snare drums, anything. But the idea is that this is a great start. This is something that this is how I started back then. So everything starts with 1 pickup, and then you see, okay, in my own music that I have in my head, I have a lot of kick drums, and I want to isolate that. I want my kick drum to be better. But if you don't use kick drum, you don't need this pickup. That's the thing. So it's a very personal thing. That's why, I mean, it's hard to say. That's why it's hard to make a guitar for everybody. It's kind of still for fingerstyle, but fingerstyle is such a wide, different thing. Like, this is fingerstyle what I do, and Tommy Emmanuel is also fingerstyle. It's the same, let's say, not genre, but the same technical umbrella. But we are as different as it can get, right? So that's why it's hard to make a guitar that would be making everybody happy. So we did what we're proud of, and then, yeah, I'm glad that people like it.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, this gentleman.
So I was just going to ask, did you primarily start playing with fingerstyle, or did you also do other genres within, I don't know, electric guitar or so on?
That's a good question. I started as a classical player, so it's which is, I guess, not a single trace of that left anymore. I started as a classical player, but I was just taking private classical guitar lessons where we were learning some classical etudes, but at the same time some simple like Beatles arrangements and stuff like that. So it was chill because it's not a music school, right, where you have the exams and stuff. So you just go to a private tutor and you can learn one piece for as long as you want. If you're lazy, right, you're going to be learning that piece for 3 months, then there are no exams. But so I wasn't a good student. I was okay. I preferred video games at that time. I still do. And the thing is that I think if I wouldn't find fingerstyle when I was like 12, 13 on the internet, I found Don Ross first. Do you guys know Don Ross? Yeah, and that was my first go-to in fingerstyle. And if I wouldn't find it, I think I wouldn't be playing guitar much, because it just, well, this is not something that I wanted to play classical. Even though I was learning like Red Hot Chili Peppers riffs and stuff, but I never even got an electric guitar because it just, well, I don't know, was never interested about it. Then I had my metal phase when I learned how to gent, but again, just on an acoustic guitar, because, well, I didn't have an electric guitar, I still don't. But every time when I have an electric guitar, when I have an opportunity to play electric guitar, I always grab it. And the problem is that all the electric guitars that you see around, they're not left-handed, right? Did you see a single left-handed guitar here? I haven't yet. Probably there are some. So I had
There's one.
There's one. Oh, that's good. Probably mine, right? And it's good that that I also learned how to play inverted. So not like this still, but the strings are inverted. So the top string is here and the bass string is here, because that's the only way how you can do it if you don't have left-handed guitar friends. How many left-handed guitar friends you have? And that's the problem. So. Yeah, it's not easy to find a left-handed guitar. That's why also one of the big things for my signature guitar is to also make sure that we offer left-handed guitar. And some people just sometimes ask me in the comments about my signature guitar, is it just left-handed? I'm like, yeah, that's the whole idea. My signature guitar should be left-handed. It's your problem that you're right-handed. You know? No, but of course most of the guitars we sell, of course, right-handed ones. I think there's only a couple of lefties that we sell. So just even on the internet, I see only like, out of 1,000 guitarists, I see like one left-handed one. So it's interesting.
Thank you.
Sure.
Can I ask one more?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So with prepared guitar, I guess you find an interesting sound, right?
Yeah.
And then how do you figure out what direction to take this in? How do you approach composition and arranging and so on?
That's a great question, because I'm a big compositional nerd, and because like I'm trying to like really compose music, not just technique. And the cool thing about prepared guitar is that you kind of let the sound lead you into the right direction. So you don't know what would be happening, right? You put the CD and then you just hit it and you're like, oh, wow, that's the sound. It's like crazy. I never thought it's possible, but it's here. And but you don't know what would be happening before you put the thing. And then you put the thing, you realize, okay, that's kind of cool. What I can do with that? Now I have like, I can just... there are a couple of compositional tricks that I really like. Is that oh no, again. I don't want to do it again. Okay, so I put it here, right? I don't know what would be happening. I also might have put it here. It's the same thing, but the problem I can't really play strings here, and I can't do anything here. It's kind of, well, everything is muted. It's like, makes no sense. So I put it here, and then I see that, okay, I have this sound here that I like, and then I can instantly add some drums on top because it's just one hand. Then I already hear more or less the idea that this should be a march. Kind of a march. It still turned out to be progressive metal, but it's kind of the idea was to make a march. And then I was thinking, okay, but I need notes, I need theme, I need A, B, I need development, and that's when I see that, okay, not a single open string is available. I cannot play open strings anymore. I can only fret strings. So fretting works. Everything in between doesn't. So I play these 3 notes, and everything in between, weird out of tune stuff. So I can only play these 3 notes, nothing else. I can fret strings, I can strum, and I can tap. That's all what I can do. That's really it. It's such a huge limitation. Of course, I found a good tuning for that. So it's, well, tuning is also very important. It's not standard tuning, right? So I have this big... This tuning is A sharp, F, A sharp, F, F, A sharp. It's one big power chord, so that's why it's kind of easy. Like here, like... Right, just one with the huge big chords. And that's it. So I have huge compositional limitation. And I think, okay, this is the theme that I start first, right? So I have this riff. This is the main theme that all the listeners should remember. I repeat it many times, and then I play the main theme. I want to make sure the melody is very strong there, but at the same time, I want to keep the same riff, the same rhythm. It's the same riff. It's just more melody in it, but the same rhythmical idea. So it means that this riff is being naturally developed from this one. And then I jump back to remind the listener that, okay, this is the main theme. And then I was thinking, okay, it's time for a big chorus, but I can only strum. So I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna go higher then. So the chorus goes here. So it goes into this direction, the more aggressive direction. This is the most aggressive thing I can come up with. So this is like the most powerful part of the song, because it's like I can't really strum harder. I can't fret more things here. I'm already like, it's really uncomfortable to play here, but I cannot do anything else. So this is the chorus thing, and then it's already been very loud, and I want to show another like kind of different thing. I want to go quiet for a second. That's when I come up with this riff. It's a new development, right? I basically developed everything what I could from this thing. It's kind of a big, well, chorus main theme section, and then I go into B part. This is the B part. Let's consider that the idea is that, well, like in classical music, it's the world against the main hero, kinda. So all of this, it's like an industrial world that slams the main hero, and this is the main hero that goes, at least gives some nice tiny voice, then the voice gets higher. And then here's this machine. So that's the whole idea. So I basically, what I do is that at first I show this riff, then I add the harmony on top. Almost there. And then I go into this man against the machine thing. It's the same rhythmical idea. It's the same riff. I just have my top voice left, which means this main hero voice. And at the same time, I have my drums now presented. And then I have this little bridge here, where's this effect is very audible here, right? Very epic. So that's the low voice again. And getting back to the main theme. So this whole quiet section, Man Against the World, wouldn't be too long because we always want to refer back. And that's the problem. Okay, that's a lot of things already. It's like that's enough. Okay, it's been enough. Just repeating these things is enough for a composition, like A, B, C sections. But then we needed this golden cut, 3/3 of the song, right? When we already shown the verse, chorus, and then there should be something else, something different. Kind of normally in pop music, it's the third bridge, third verse thing, and there's some key change happening or something new. So something that would make listener exciting, because at the point of 2 minutes already of the song, you kind of heard most of it, right? And I still want to give something new that wasn't there before, and kind of a new idea, not as not as like, well, direct in a way, like marching, right? So I came up with a stepping thing. And it's like, I think it's super effective because it's like, because of the tuning, I literally play the same frets. It's 12, 7, 8, 12, 7, 8, 12, 7, 8, 12, 7, 8. It sounds like a battle against the man in the world. More notes. There was never a section like that before in the song. It's new and exciting. It's exactly where it should be, 3/3 of the song. So we already had 2/3 with the main theme that we were developing and doing different things with it. Then we have this 3/3. This is the main section, and not the main section. This like, well, the bridge, right? The new bridge that was never before. It's the new rhythmics again. There was no rhythmics like that in the song before. It's exciting. At the same time, it feels like it should be developed into somewhere, because this is not really melodic, right? It's very industrial again. Then I'm thinking, how can I add the melody? I tried to squeeze in some melody in there to make it a bit more meaningful. So I found just a couple of notes here. Just really simple, just to make it stand out, like again, that voice of the main hero that tries to scream against this whole, well, machine, all this thing. So it sounds like this. And then I have to get back to the chorus somehow, and that's why it was not easy, because this section sounds so different compared to the chorus. I can't just instantly jump back to the chorus like. It's kind of weird, right? It's just too abrupt. So that's why I tried to think of how to lead to that. So I just had this couple of kind of easy tapping breaks here. Snare again. That's the main battle of the hero, and then eventually still the machine covers the hero completely, and he kind of, well, not dies, but you know, it's the world won. The machine won. So that's how it goes. So how it goes. That's the world. That's the machine. So eventually it's there at the end. It's not this. It's not this voice. The voice is. It's dead. It's not anymore. It's the machine. It's the machine now, right? So it got back to this machine, and then I'm still breaking this machine down afterwards. So at first I have the whole riff again, then without kick drum, then muted. So that's the whole. That's how much you can squeeze out of out of the CD. Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but the idea is that it's a huge technical limitation, because you cannot just play the guitar normally when you have things like that. So I all recommend you guys just go around. I mean, it took me like a couple of hours. I was just literally thinking, okay, I already have a couple of prepared songs like that throughout the years, and I was thinking it's good to compose a new one. And I literally spent a couple of hours just walking around the house, trying forks and knives and everything. You never know what would work. You can just try pencils. I don't know, anything you see in your room. It's so exciting because you never know how it would sound. Most of the time it goes like this, when you go like in between strings like that. You can use like, I don't know, God, no, anything you can find. Doesn't really matter. So, because sometimes you just find this gold, like the CD, because I think it's like, it's so effective. It's like, it's very vivid. It's like the whole idea of prepared guitar, that if you the imagination instantly sparks, it instantly starts working, because to me it instantly sounds like this cosmic intergalactic march. I think it sounds so cool, and the only way to produce the sound is to play it like that with the CD. There is no other way to play it. So that's why I think it's especially cool when you can compose a composition around it. Not just like to make some noises, because you cannot, I mean, people are not going to be interested in listening to you making noises for like 5 minutes. But if it's a composition, which has this interesting technical things in it, but still, if it works as a composition, if it has musical meaning, if it has melody, if it has development, then I think it doesn't really matter if there's a CD or anything. If it makes you think about something, if it makes your imagination go into some direction, if it's enjoyable, I hope it was enjoyable, then then I think that's all what matters. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Do we still have time, or should we? What again? No, we don't. Okay, okay, I understand. Okay, sorry. So no. Let's just maybe if still some of you have like one question or something, I can quickly reply. And okay, this gentleman, please. Just one question, okay? And we're wrapping up. Okay.
I really appreciate that you use a lot of small like gadgets and like different stuffs, like maybe the CD and like I first saw you like playing with chopsticks.
Yeah.
Really impressive. So I just wonder, like, if you have tried maybe some more, like harmonic guitars attached to it, like maybe double neck guitars to produce more sound.
Yeah, see, it's like it's a good question. It's like the same problem as with 5-string bass. 5-string bass is cool, but most of the time when you play fingerstyle on it, you're muting this 5th string because it just buzzes terribly all the time. And I'm just afraid I'm struggling with 6 strings. It's like, it's hard. 6 strings is already like, it's a lot. It's like, I mean, you really got to think of so many things when you play 6 strings, all these tunings and stuff. And I just think that if I would have, like, let's say, not even the additional neck, but additional strings here, like harp strings, it's just too many options. I'm afraid it would be hard to find a good melody, because I can play any note at this point, and anything would sound good, because everything is tuned in open tuning and anything. And I'm just afraid that it's, I don't know, it's just too many things, too many options. I like that on 6 strings you're still kind of limited, especially if you put additional problems like that. If you create additional problems, you're even more limited. So eventually it's about 2 or 3 good notes that you're trying to find. And when there are 2 or 3 good notes that are great, I think that makes sense. But if you have the option of choosing out of 200 notes, it's so easy to get lost in it. I don't know, but I never tried actually. I mean, I tried some harp guitars, not a single left-handed one. So maybe I'm not inspired because I never tried the left-handed one. I don't know. Would love to someday. I mean, I'm open to experiments. I'm just like, I don't know. But now my head is all into exploring this guitar and really trying to make it all make sense. So people wouldn't be thinking like, oh, he just put so many things on it, but he just doesn't know how to use it. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to explore and to compose hopefully some good music on it. Okay. Good. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I mean, I'm still going to be here around packing and moving my weird pedal board to the side. So, yeah, going to be here. Feel free to ask any questions. And we're going to see each other tonight at the concert with my great mentor, with my friend John Gom. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to be practicing like crazy because the concert is going to be, taped. So, yeah, I hope it's going to go fun and cool. And thank you all so much, guys. Thank you for being here. It's a great, great pleasure to share things with you.